Dawn reaches Philadelphia without ceremony. It arrives as a gray thinning of darkness, not light. The cold sits low, trapped between brick walls and damp earth. Breath shows, it always does. Inside narrow rooms, bodies stir beneath coarse wool blankets. The air smells of ash and old smoke. A woman rises first. She feeds the hearth with yesterday's coals, coaxing flame from what remains. The fire answers slowly. Wood is precious. Outside, the street is still, no wheels yet, no voices, just hooves shifting somewhere unseen. A cock crows from a yard behind a bakehouse. Somewhere, a child coughs. The sound carries, houses are close, privacy is thin, the floorboards creak as boots are pulled on. Leather is stiff from damp, there is no rush. Time is not owned here, it is obeyed. When the bell rings, movement will begin. Until then, the city waits. So do its people. The streets are not empty for long. They rarely are. Philadelphia's grid exists on paper, but the ground resists it. Packed earth breaks under last night's rain. Ruts fill with brown water. A cartwheel sinks and groans. Men lean their weight into it, shoulders forward, boots sliding. Stones appear only where money insists. Elsewhere, mud rules. Manure lies where it falls. Horses decide the path. People step wide to avoid them. Clothing shows the calculation. Hemlines are lifted. Shoes are thick. Silence never lasts. Iron rims strike stone. Chains clatter. Vendors call low, testing the morning. Dogs move freely, ribs visible, noses down. Smoke drifts from chimneys and hangs between buildings. It has nowhere else to go. Brick walls rise close on either side, unfinished, scarred by mortar stains. Nothing gleams. Everything works. The street is not a place of passage, it is a workplace. And it does not forgive distraction. Buildings here announce their making. Brick dominates, but not by elegance. It is defense. Against fire, against wind, against time. The bricks are uneven, burned too hot or too cold, set by hands that ache by midday. Mortar flakes where frost has bitten it. Wood survives only where it must. Doorframes, floors, beams overhead. Every piece carries weight. Construction is slow. A house rises over months, sometimes years. Apprentices haul. Masters measure. Mistakes remain visible. Nothing is hidden. Nails are precious, glass more so. Windows are small and irregular. Light enters in fragments. Inside, rooms serve many lives at once. Work, sleep, storage, eating. There is no wasted space because space costs labor. You can smell fresh lime where a wall was patched. You can see soot where it failed. These buildings are not symbols. They are shelters built by tired arms. They stand because they must. Movement defines rank. It always has. Those with means ride. Slowly, carefully. Horses are valuable. So are carriages. Everyone else walks. Pace is learned early. Too fast marks desperation. Too slow invites notice. Men carry tools openly. Women carry weight. Buckets. Bundles. Children, apprentices keep their eyes low. They move with purpose but without confidence. Space is negotiated constantly. A bowed head here. A step aside there. No words are needed. Clothing speaks first. Linen clean or stained. Coats patched or whole. Hats removed or kept on. Everyone reads these signs. Mistakes are remembered. The street teaches posture. Shoulders tighten near authority. Relax near familiar doors. There is no wandering. To walk without reason is to be questioned. To stop too long is to block work. Bodies adjust. They always do. The city trains them daily, by pressure, by repetition. Night does not arrive gently. It falls. When the sun slips away, the city contracts. Light becomes private. A candle here, an oil lamp there. Most windows go dark. The street belongs to sound. Footsteps echo sharply. Too sharply. Lanterns are rare and guarded. Flames mean fire. Fire means loss. People move close to walls, guided by memory more than sight. Doors close early, bars slide into place, voices drop. Somewhere a watchman's rattle breaks the dark. It is not comforting, it is a warning. Smoke thickens as hearths burn longer, the smell clings. Inside, families draw together. Outside, shadows stretch and merge, shapes lose meaning. The city does not sleep, it holds its breath. Darkness here is not absence, it is pressure. And everyone understands what it can take. Bread decides the morning, not taste. Price. Flour arrives from the countryside by wagon and river, vulnerable at every mile. A broken axle delays it. Rain ruins it. Ice stops it. Bakers know this. So do households. Loaves are weighed carefully. Hands feel for density. A light loaf is an insult. Payment comes in mixed coin. A clipped shilling. A Spanish piece. Sometimes credit. Recorded in chalk. Prices shift without warning. A poor harvest upriver means hunger here within days. Bread is not eaten freely. It is counted. Portions are cut smaller when winter stretches. Children learn early not to waste crumbs. Water is everywhere and nowhere safe. Wells sit in yards and public squares, shallow and exposed. They share ground with privies, with graves, with refuse. People know this without knowing why. Illness follows certain pumps, stories circulate. A family sickens after drawing from one source, another survives by avoiding it. The city has no single solution. Buckets travel daily, heavy, sloshing. Women wait their turn. They talk while they wait. Information spreads faster than relief. Some water is sold, hauled from cleaner sources outside dense streets. It costs more. Not everyone can afford it. Beer fills the gap, weak, cloudy, fermented. Children drink it. So do laborers before noon. It is safer than water. No one pretends otherwise. Thirst is constant. Cleanliness is optional. Survival is negotiated one bucket at a time. Cold governs decisions months in advance. Firewood is stacked early, or not at all. Those without means scavenge. Fences disappear. Old crates vanish, anything burns. Hearths are fed sparingly. Flames are coaxed, not wasted. Smoke stains ceilings and lungs alike. It never fully leaves. Chimneys clog. Sparks escape. Fear of fire competes with fear of freezing. Both are real. Winter tightens the city. Movement slows. Goods cost more. Illness lingers longer. Families crowd into single rooms for warmth. Privacy dissolves. Tempers shorten. When the river freezes, supply lines strain, ice stops boats, wagons struggle, prices rise again. The cold does not care who planned ahead, it punishes evenly. Survival becomes arithmetic. Wood, food, time. Few have enough of all three. Nothing arrives without effort. Wagons creak under load, pulled by animals that tire quickly in mud. Roads beyond the city are uneven, rutted, seasonal. A journey measured in hours can stretch into days. Rivers promise ease, then deny it with wind or ice. Ferries tip dangerously when overloaded. Men argue over weight and fare. A lost crate is not an inconvenience, it is ruin. Merchants insure through trust and reputation, both fail. Goods pile at wharves when carts cannot move them onward. Storage costs money. Delay breeds tension. Theft follows congestion. Everything in motion risks disappearance. The city depends on movement yet cannot control it. Transportation is not freedom, it is exposure. Each journey invites chance. Each delay multiplies consequences. The system works. Barely. When it fails, the failure spreads. Money rarely looks the same twice. Coins pass hand to hand, worn smooth. Values are argued constantly. Weight matters more than face. Scales appear at counters. Merchants bite silver without embarrassment. Paper is distrusted. Promises circulate anyway. Credit binds the city together. It also strangles it. Names are remembered. Debts recorded. Missed payments linger. Reputation becomes currency. A man known to settle accounts eats better than one who does not. Even when both are poor, wages are irregular. paid late, or not at all. Laborers accept goods instead. Rum, bread, firewood. This keeps them alive but dependent. Debt is not hidden. It is visible in posture, in avoidance, in sudden departures. The city runs on obligation as much as coin. When trust breaks, nothing moves. A Philadelphia household is never just a family. It is a unit of labor. Parents, children, apprentices, servants, and boarders share the same walls. Sometimes the same bed. Rooms are assigned by usefulness, not comfort. Sleep is taken where work ends. A tailor's apprentice rolls out a pallet beneath the cutting table. A servant rests near the hearth to rise first. Privacy does not exist as a right. It exists only in moments. Conversations are overheard. Arguments travel through floorboards. Illness spreads quickly. So does rumor. Authority inside the home is rigid. Fathers command. Masters discipline. Obedience is expected, not discussed. Love is expressed through provision, not affection. A household that fails to function draws notice. Neighbors watch closely. Disorder suggests debt, or vice, or worse. The home is not a refuge from the city. It is the smallest version of it, controlled, observed, judged daily. Marriage is rarely romantic. It is deliberate. Families weigh outcomes carefully. Property matters. Reputation matters more. A poor match stains generations. Courtship happens in public spaces, under supervision. Conversations are measured. Letters are read aloud. Dowries are discussed quietly, then openly. Women bring labor and lineage. Men bring prospects and protection. Love may follow. It is not required. Once married, roles harden quickly. Women manage food, fire, cloth, children, and illness. Their work never ends. Men represent the household beyond the door. Failure in either role becomes public knowledge. Separation is rare and dangerous. A woman without a husband struggles to survive. A man without order loses standing. Marriage stabilizes the city by binding people into predictable forms. It reduces movement. Childhood is brief and practical. By 7, children contribute. They fetch water, turn spits, sweep shops, watch siblings. Schooling exists, but unevenly. Reading is valued, writing less so. Arithmetic only where trade demands it. Many children never attend lessons at all. Instead, they are placed. Apprenticeship contracts bind boys for years. Masters promise food, shelter, instruction, and discipline. Discipline is taken seriously. Beatings are common. Accepted. Girls learn within households, cooking, spinning, mending, nursing. Their education is constant and unpaid. Play happens between tasks, never instead of them. Mortality shadows every family. Many children do not survive infancy. Those who do are expected to endure. Parents invest cautiously. Attachment grows slowly. Loss is familiar. The city raises children to be useful before they are joyful. Survival comes first. Everything else follows if it can. Formal law exists, but reputation governs daily life. People remember. Shopkeepers note who pays. Neighbors track behavior. Churches record attendance. Absence is noticed. Excess is whispered about. A single accusation can alter standing. Drunkenness, violence, impropriety. Each carries weight. Punishment does not always require courts. Exclusion works faster. Credit is denied. Doors close. Invitations stop. Shame disciplines more efficiently than force. Public rituals reinforce this. Announcements, notices, confessions. The city prefers correction over chaos. Those who resist find themselves isolated. Few can survive that. Authority flows sideways as much as downward. Everyone participates. Watching, reporting, repeating. Control is communal. It is enforced through memory. Forgiveness is possible but conditional. Trust must be rebuilt slowly. The system creates order without constant violence. Faith is not private. It organizes the week. Bells dictate time. Sermons define conduct. Churches serve as meeting halls, record offices, and moral courts. Attendance signals belonging. Absence invites suspicion. Different congregations coexist, but tension remains. Plain dress competes with ornament. Silence competes with ritual. Doctrine shapes posture and speech. Some believe restraint proves virtue. Others believe obedience does. Children absorb these distinctions early. God is present in illness, fortune, and failure. Explanations turn upward when answers run out. Ministers warn against excess, against pride, against idleness. Fear is a tool, but not the only one. Community pressure reinforces belief. Those who challenge doctrine do so carefully. Open defiance risks exile. Religion stabilizes behavior by giving suffering meaning. It also justifies inequality. Both functions operate simultaneously. No one fully escapes its reach. Even doubt must learn to whisper. The printing shop wakes before the street. Ink is mixed by hand. Thick, oily, it stains skin permanently. Paper lies stacked, uneven, expensive. Each sheet matters. The press creaks under pressure, wood groaning as type meets fiber. Words are set backward, letter by letter, by men who must think in reverse. Mistakes are costly. Corrections slower. Once printed, pages move fast. Faster than wagons. Faster than sermons. Pamphlets pass from hand to hand. Read aloud in taverns, whispered in kitchens, argued over in shops. Literacy is uneven, but hearing is universal. A single text can travel across the city in hours. No authority approves it first. That frightens some, excites others. Ideas leave the press unfinished. They gather meaning as they move. Printers claim neutrality. They only supply paper. Books are not common objects. They are investments. A shelf of volumes signals status and seriousness. Titles are chosen carefully. Scripture, moral philosophy, classical histories, practical manuals. Owning books suggests discipline. Reading them suggests ambition. Learned men gather in private rooms to discuss ideas cautiously. Words are weighed. References checked. Disagreement remains polite but sharp. Education divides as much as it elevates. Those trained in Latin or medicine speak differently. They stand straighter, use fewer gestures. Their authority is social before it is intellectual. Schools teach obedience alongside knowledge. Curiosity is encouraged only within limits. Radical texts circulate anyway, copied by hand when presses refuse them. Marginal notes grow dangerous. Some readers believe books refine society, others believe they corrupt it. Both arguments spread. The act of reading becomes political without announcing itself. Thought changes posture before it changes law. Illness arrives without warning. Fever, swelling, pain that moves unpredictably. Physicians visit with confidence that exceeds results. They bleed patients to balance unseen forces. They purge. They apply leeches. Remedies are debated fiercely. Outcomes rarely settle the argument. Recovery proves the treatment worked. Death proves it was too late. Ordinary people observe patterns. Certain seasons bring sickness. Certain streets suffer more. Wells are blamed. Air is blamed. God is blamed. Explanations compete. None dominate. Hospitals exist, but few trust them. Home care feels safer even when it fails. Medical knowledge spreads through rumor as much as study. One cure gains favor, then vanishes. Another replaces it. Families choose based on reputation, not proof. Fear shapes decisions. Confidence reassures more than accuracy. Medicine in this city is not science yet. It is negotiation with the unknown. Everyone participates. No one fully understands. Information travels without permission. A cough becomes an omen. A death becomes a warning. Rumor moves through markets, wells, and doorways. It adapts as it goes. Details sharpen or dissolve. Fear accelerates it. Authority struggles to contain it. Official notices arrive too late. By then, stories have settled. People alter behavior quietly. Avoid certain streets, certain houses, certain names. No record captures this movement. It leaves no trace except absence. A shop empties earlier than usual. A family leaves town overnight. Rumor does not require belief, only attention. Some stories involve signs, dreams, portents, a strange animal, a light seen where none should be. Practical explanations follow quickly. Spoiled food, bad air, drunken imagination. Neither side resolves the matter. The city lives inside this tension. Rumor fills gaps left by uncertainty. It organizes fear when facts cannot. Silence often follows. Ideas do not remain where they are introduced. They drift. They are reshaped by those who need them. A moral argument becomes a complaint. A complaint becomes a justification. Authorities attempt response. Sermons warn against dangerous thinking. Schools reinforce approved texts. Pressures increase subtly. But curiosity persists. People sense that understanding offers leverage, even incomplete understanding. Questions multiply. Why some prosper? Why others suffer? Why obedience fails to protect? These questions circulate quietly, rarely stated outright. Too risky. Instead, they surface indirectly, in jokes, in parables, in selective reading. Knowledge here does not explode, it seeps, slowly, persistently. Control weakens not through rebellion, but through interpretation. No single moment marks the shift. It is gradual, uneven, difficult to track. By the time it is noticed, it is already spread, and it will not return to its original form. Stability proves temporary. It always does. A poor harvest beyond the city pushes prices upward without warning. Flour tightens. Meat grows scarce. Fuel follows. Merchants adjust quickly. Households cannot. Bread that once lasted a week now vanishes in days. Credit extends further, then snaps. Arguments break out at counters, not loudly at first, quietly. Accusations slip into conversation. Bakers are blamed. Carters are blamed. Hoarders are imagined. Some are real. The market no longer feels neutral. It feels watched. Wealth cushions a few. For others, every purchase becomes a decision weighted with risk. Hunger sharpens perception. People notice who still eats well. Resentment grows without speeches or banners, just looks, just memory. The city has not failed yet, but it no longer feels reliable. Trust thins. When prices rise, faith and order falls with them. Disease rarely comes alone. It follows weather, movement, and crowding. Summer heat thickens the air. Stagnant water turns suspect. Fevers appear first at the margins, then closer. Families close doors instinctively. Visits stop. Markets thin. Bells toll more often. Physicians disagree publicly. Some urge bleeding. Others warn against it. Households choose sides. Success is claimed early. Failure explained later. The sick are isolated when possible. When not, everyone waits. Fear reshapes routines. Children are kept indoors. Travelers questioned. Strangers avoided. Some whisper of judgment. Others of corruption in the water. Comforts. Death interrupts work suddenly. A chair empties. A bed stays unused. There is no announcement when the danger passes. It simply loosens its grip. Those who survive remember. Those who do not become statistics. The city resumes movement, changed slightly, quietly more afraid. Philadelphia prides itself on restraint, on fairness, on order without cruelty. These ideals are spoken often, tested less. Under pressure, they bend. Rules are enforced unevenly. The respectable are forgiven. The marginal are punished. Meetings call for patience while hunger spreads. Sermons urge humility while wealth concentrates. Contradictions surface slowly. Observed. Discussed cautiously. Some still believe discipline will restore balance. Others doubt it ever existed. The language of morality grows sharper. So does the language of grievance. Neither side claims dominance. Both speak carefully. No one wants open conflict. Yet disappointment settles in. Ideals that once reassured now provoke questions. Was order protection or control? Was tolerance conditional? The city does not answer. It watches itself struggle to remain what it claims to be. That struggle becomes visible, and visibility changes everything. Those charged with maintaining order sense the shift. They issue notices. Call meetings. Request calm. Their words carry less weight than before. Enforcement becomes selective. Strategic. Designed to prevent panic rather than address causes. Some disturbances are ignored, others punished harshly to set examples. This inconsistency confuses more than it reassures. People read intent into silence. Absence of response feels deliberate. Power hesitates because it fears escalation. Hesitation invites testing. Small acts of defiance appear. A refusal, a delay, a refusal to explain. Nothing dramatic, yet. Authority tightens quietly. Surveillance increases through community pressure rather than force. Neighbors are encouraged to report. Ministers reinforce obedience. The city holds itself together through restraint. But restraint requires belief. That belief weakens unevenly. Once questioned, authority must work harder to justify itself. And effort exposes vulnerability. The most important changes occur indoors, around tables, near fires, late at night. Conversations lengthen. They circle familiar complaints, then drift further. Why some families always recover, why others never do. Why rules feel heavier now. No one claims certainty. Questions remain tentative, but they persist. People stop assuming answers will come from above. They look sideways instead, to peers, to texts, to rumor. Ideas once dismissed return with new urgency. The city still functions, markets open, bells ring, laws stand. Yet beneath routine, something has shifted. Expectations have changed. Patience thins. Attention sharpens. People listen differently. The pressure does not explode. It settles, like heat trapped between walls. Everyone senses it. Few name it. The city waits, not calmly, expectantly. Philadelphia becomes attentive in new ways. People pause longer before speaking. They listen for tone, not just words. Small gestures carry meaning. A delayed greeting, a door closed sooner than expected. Watchfulness spreads without instruction. It feels practical, even necessary. Households adjust routines quietly. Meetings grow smaller. Trust becomes selective. No single incident explains this change. It accumulates. Observation replaces confidence. The city learns to read itself. Markets still open. Worship continues. Children are apprenticed as before. Yet beneath repetition, awareness sharpens. People notice patterns. Who benefits? Who absorbs loss? Who avoids consequence? This attention does not immediately produce action. It produces memory. Memory alters future choices. Nothing dramatic follows. That is the point. The shift is internal. It cannot be legislated. It cannot be announced. It lives in behavior, in caution, in recalculation. The city does not declare a new phase. It enters one. Those coming of age inherit instability as normal. They learn quickly what cannot be relied upon. Promises, prices, authority, certainty itself. Apprentices watch masters struggle. Students hear disagreement among learned men. Children overhear fear spoken softly. This shapes ambition. Some seek security, others influence. Education becomes strategy. Marriage becomes timing. Movement becomes calculation. Youth adapt faster than elders. They ask fewer questions aloud. They test boundaries indirectly. Their confidence is different, less rooted, more flexible. They expect change. They prepare for it. The city does not instruct them to think this way. Circumstance does. A generation forms without clear faith in permanence. This does not make them reckless. It makes them observant. They learn to hold multiple explanations at once, to delay commitment, to wait. These habits will matter later. For now, they pass unnoticed. Quiet preparation rarely announces itself. Not all thought remains inside city walls. Letters travel. Pamphlets move outward. Conversations are repeated elsewhere, altered slightly. Philadelphia does not control what it releases, nor does it fully grasp the effect. A phrase meant for reassurance becomes provocation in another place. A cautious argument turns bold once removed from its origin. Responsibility blurs. Those who first spoke the words may not recognize them later. The city contributes without directing. This unsettles some, others take pride in it. Influence is difficult to measure, no ledger records it. Yet movement continues. Ideas cross rivers, enter taverns, reach ports. They encounter different pressures, produce different reactions. Philadelphia remains where it is, but its thoughts do not. The separation between origin and outcome widens. This creates distance. Distance allows denial, or hope. The city continues its routines while consequences unfold elsewhere. Unseen, uncontrolled. Most lives here do not climax. They persist. Work resumes after illness. Debt is managed. Loss is absorbed. People adjust expectations downward or sideways. They find ways to continue. Satisfaction becomes modest. Survival counts as success. Stories do not conclude neatly. A dispute fades rather than resolves. A belief weakens rather than breaks. Faith adapts. Doubt coexists. This frustrates those who want clarity, but clarity is rare. The city teaches endurance over certainty. People learn to live inside unanswered questions. They do not wait for explanation. They wait for conditions to improve or worsen. Then they respond. This rhythm defines existence, not revelation, not collapse, just continuation. The absence of resolution does not paralyze. It stabilizes. People become skilled at carrying contradiction, at working without assurance, at believing provisionally. These habits settle deep. They will shape decisions long after their origins are forgotten. Another morning arrives. It resembles the last. Light returns slowly. Fires are rekindled. Streets fill. Work resumes. Nothing dramatic marks the change. That is the illusion. The city looks familiar. But familiarity does not mean sameness. Each repetition carries slight alteration. Memory accumulates. Attention sharpens. Expectations shift. Philadelphia continues to function because it adapts quietly, without declarations, without closure. It does not know what it is becoming. It only knows what it must do next. Feed itself, order itself, justify itself. These tasks repeat endlessly. The city does not pause to interpret its own significance. It cannot afford to. Meaning forms later, elsewhere. For now, life proceeds. Bells ring, carts move, conversations begin again. And beneath them, the accumulated weight of experience remains, unspoken, unresolved, waiting to matter. Dawn reaches the river first. Along the wharves, men step onto planks slick with frost and fish slime. Ropes creak, blocks groan. A sloop noses in on the tide, its deck cluttered with barrels and crates wrapped in tarred cloth. Labor begins without ceremony. Hands test knots. Shoulders take weight. A misstep means water, and cold water means death. Foremen shout numbers, not names. Time is measured in loads moved before the wind turns. A cooper checks a cask by ear, tapping wood for the hollow note of failure. Tar bubbles in an iron pot nearby, thick and black, used to seal seams against salt. The smell stings. The work never looks heroic. It looks necessary. Every bale dragged ashore becomes bread, cloth, nails, rum, paper. Every delay becomes shortage. The river is a road that can drown you. It provides. It threatens. It never negotiates. Near the water, authority becomes ink. Cargo is not simply unloaded. It is declared, measured, taxed. Clerks sit behind high desks, quills moving steadily while captains argue value and origin. A barrel is weighed twice. A bolt of cloth is unfolded and inspected for damage that might lower the duty. Coins change hands in small, careful piles. Officially, unofficially, other arrangements appear. A quiet word, a gift framed as courtesy. A clerk's pause at the right moment. Smuggling is not romance here. It is arithmetic. If the duty is too high, the profit disappears. If the profit disappears, the voyage was pointless. Men risk punishment because the system invites it. The crown wants revenue. Merchants want margin. Between them sits paperwork, pretended honesty, and endless negotiation. Everyone speaks politely. Everyone listens for leverage. The river brings goods. The customs desk decides who keeps them. Order has a stage, and it sits in public. When disputes harden, they move to courtrooms where men in wigs speak in measured tones, and time is spent like money. Debts become cases. Insults become charges. A stolen loaf can pull a crowd. Punishment is designed to be seen. Stocks in the square trap ankles and wrists. Faces are exposed to weather and ridicule. Rotten fruit does the rest. Whippings happen quickly, counted aloud so no one doubts the number. 20. 30. The body flinches on schedule. The lesson is meant for the watchers as much as the accused. Some look away. Some stare without blinking. A magistrate might quote scripture. Another might quote precedent. Neither changes the pain. Fear keeps many obedient. Shame keeps others quiet. Justice here is not private correction. It is public instruction. The city teaches with spectacle because it cannot afford constant force. By evening, labor drains into rooms where speech loosens. Taverns fill with smoke, damp wool, and the sour sweetness of spilled ale. Tables are scarred by knives and cups. Men bargain, boast, and complain in the same breath. A fiddler plays near the hearth. Feet tap. Dice clatter. Cards slide over wood polished by thousands of hands. Apprentices hover near the edge, hungry for scraps of attention. Sailors talk loud, then suddenly quiet when unfamiliar faces enter. A man with ink-stained fingers listens more than he speaks. Another man, well-dressed, pretends not to be recognized. Respectability sits in corners and drinks anyway. Arguments spark fast. Politics, religion, prices. A shove becomes a threat. A threat becomes laughter, or blood. No one knows which until it happens. In these rooms, alliances form without signatures. Resentments deepen without witnesses. The city's public face is orderly. Its private voice is here. And it is never entirely sober. Death stays close enough to be ordinary. When a neighbor dies, the street learns before the family finishes closing the eyes. Black cloth appears in a window. A shop's shutters stay shut. Work pauses briefly, then resumes. Bodies are washed, wrapped, and placed in plain coffins if money is short. Funerals move on foot, slow and compact, led by prayer and habit. Bells mark the passage. Graveyards press against churches and houses, crowded with leaning stones that record names, ages, and sudden endings. Some stones speak plainly, taken by fever. Others offer only dates, as if the cause is too common to mention. Children watch from doorways, learning early that endings arrive without permission. The living do not speak long about the dead, not because they do not care, but because grief must share space with survival. Even mourning has a schedule. And tomorrow's bread still matters. The year governs more than the law. Spring loosens the ground and tempers alike. Mud returns first, then optimism. Repairs begin everywhere at once. Roofs are patched, walls remortared. Summer brings lengthened days and compressed patience. Heat presses down, thick and unmoving between brick rows. Work starts earlier, ends later. Sweat darkens linen by mid-morning. Autumn is calculation. Harvests are counted, supplies measured, promises reviewed, bargains struck quickly before frost interferes. Winter does not negotiate. It shrinks the city inward. Movement narrows, days shorten, night dominates. Each season alters posture, speech, expectation. People plan less than they adjust. Survival depends on reading signs correctly. Clouds, wind, smell, temperature. These cues matter more than calendars. Those who misjudge them suffer quietly. Seasons enforce discipline without words. They shape rhythm, mood, and memory. The city does not fight them. It learns, repeatedly. Much of the city's labor leaves no record. It happens indoors, before dawn, after dark. Women manage systems that keep households alive. Food preparation begins hours before eating. Grain must be cleaned, meat preserved, vegetables stretched, water heated, ash saved, soap made, cloth washed and repaired endlessly. Children are watched while work continues. Illness does not pause these duties. Pregnancy does not excuse them. Payment is recognition, not coin. Failure is visible immediately. A cold hearth, a missing meal, a sick child. These tasks require skill learned through observation and correction, not instruction. Expertise passes quietly between generations. Errors are costly. Fire spreads. Food spoils. Bodies weaken. Yet this labor remains described as natural rather than skilled. That distinction matters. It limits authority. It confines movement. Women understand the city's fragility intimately because they manage its smallest margins. Their work absorbs shock daily. Without it, nothing functions. With it, everything appears stable. Not everything spoken should be heard. People learn this early. Certain opinions stay inside rooms. Certain names are avoided. Silence becomes a form of defense. Against authority, against neighbors, against consequence. Knowing when not to speak is valuable knowledge. It is taught through example. A man who speaks too freely loses customers. A woman who questions openly gains attention she does not want. Children observe these outcomes carefully. Stories circulate about those who misjudge the moment. Punishment does not always follow. Sometimes reputation erodes instead. That erosion is slower, more dangerous. Silence allows coexistence. It keeps disagreements manageable. It also hides resentment. Anger stored quietly does not disappear. It waits. The city functions partly because so much goes unsaid. This restraint is praised as civility. It is also containment. Everyone carries private conclusions they do not announce. The gap between thought and speech widens. What fills it remains uncertain. The city is not separate from animals. It moves with them. Horses strain at loads. Oxen pull wagons slowly, methodically. Pigs roam freely, rooting through refuse with legal protection. Chickens scratch in alleys. Dogs guard shops and sleep in doorways. Their presence shapes sound and smell constantly. Manure accumulates faster than it can be cleared. Flies swarm in warm months. Rats thrive unnoticed until scarcity reveals them. Animals provide labor, food, waste removal, companionship, and danger. A kicked horse kills without warning. A rabid dog empties a street. Slaughter happens close to where meat is eaten. Blood drains into gutters. Children watch without flinching. This proximity blurs boundaries. Life and death coexist visibly. Nothing is abstract. The city tolerates animals because it depends on them. Control is partial at best. When disease appears, animals are blamed first. Sometimes rightly, sometimes not. The verdict rarely settles the fear. There are moments when Philadelphia seems still. Late at night, after snowfall, during heavy rain. Sound dulls. Movement slows. The city appears held. These pauses are temporary. They offer no resolution. Just rest. People use them to recover strength. To reconsider plans, to endure. Snow muffles argument and filth alike. Rain cleans some surfaces and worsens others. During these lulls, boundaries feel less rigid. Differences soften. Then activity resumes. The pause ends. What remains is memory of quiet. It does not last, but it matters. It reminds inhabitants that the city is not always pressing forward, that it can stop briefly without collapsing. These moments do not produce change directly. They prepare people to endure the next strain. Stillness becomes part of survival, not an escape, a reset. When motion returns, it does so fully. The city never rests long. It cannot afford to. Fire is never abstract. It lives inside walls. Hearths burn all day. Candles drip tallow onto wood. Chimneys clog with soot. One careless moment erases years of labor. When flame escapes, the city responds by instinct. Shouts cut through streets. Buckets appear. Lines form from wells and rivers. Water sloshes wildly, often missing its mark. Roofs are torn open to stop spread. Furniture is thrown into the street. Some houses are sacrificed to save others. There is no professional force, only obligation. Every able body must help or be remembered for failing to do so. Fire reshapes architecture. Brick is favored. Gaps are left between buildings where possible. Fear dictates design, yet accidents persist. Wind turns sparks into storms. Afterward, ruins smoke for days. Families camp among remains. Blame is assigned quietly. Fire is treated as both enemy and judgment. It punishes carelessness. It respects no status. The city survives by expecting it. Nothing stays finished. Streets erode. Roofs leak. Walls crack. Repair defines the city's rhythm as much as construction. Craftsmen move constantly between jobs. A mason patches one wall while another fails elsewhere. Wood swells and shrinks with weather. Iron rusts quickly near the river. Tools break. Replacement costs delay work. Householders negotiate endlessly over responsibility. Who fixes the shared wall? Who replaces the beam? Disputes linger. Temporary solutions become permanent by habit. Infrastructure exists in fragments. Drains clog, wells collapse, bridges sag. Each repair solves a problem locally while creating another nearby. The city tolerates this imbalance. Perfection is not expected. Function is. Maintenance consumes time and money without producing visible progress. This frustrates newcomers. Long residents accept it. The work never ends, but it prevents disaster. Repair is not improvement, it is survival extended by effort. Poverty is visible and managed carefully. Begging is permitted within limits. Too much invites punishment. Too little invites suspicion. Churches organize aid selectively. Food is distributed. Wood is shared. Only to the deserving poor, widows, orphans. The disabled. Criteria matter. Investigation precedes generosity. Neighbors testify. Reputation decides outcomes. Charity reinforces order by defining worthiness. It does not eliminate need. Almshouses exist but are feared. Conditions are strict. Families avoid them if possible. Accepting aid carries stigma, yet refusal risks starvation. This tension shapes behavior. People perform respectability when desperate. They dress carefully, speak modestly. Gratitude is expected publicly. Resentment grows privately. Charity becomes another system of control, even when motivated by belief. Mercy is offered with structure. Disorder is denied support. The city feeds its conscience carefully, measuring generosity so it does not encourage dependence. Whether it succeeds remains unclear. The city absorbs outsiders constantly. Sailors, servants, refugees, laborers. They arrive with accents, habits, expectations that mark them immediately. Locals assess quickly. Speech, dress, posture. Trust is not automatic. Strangers must prove usefulness. Work accelerates acceptance. Idleness delays it. Some newcomers vanish into households or ships. Others linger on margins, watched closely. The city needs them but fears disruption. Records are kept. Names noted. Lodgings monitored, yet control is imperfect. Movement outpaces oversight. New beliefs arrive quietly. So do old grievances. Integration happens unevenly. Some adapt fast. Others never fully belong. Tension remains low but constant. The presence of outsiders reminds residents that the city is not closed. That change arrives daily, unannounced. This awareness unsettles stability while sustaining growth. Philadelphia grows not by invitation but by necessity. It becomes more complex without choosing to. Time is felt, not counted. Bells mark hours roughly. Sunlight dictates labor. Shadows measure progress. Few own watches. Appointments are flexible. Deadlines shift with weather and circumstance. This shapes expectation. Patience becomes skill. Frustration adapts. People arrive early or late without apology. Urgency exists but is situational. The city moves by shared rhythm rather than precision. Religious calendars structure weeks. Market days structure trade. Seasonal cycles override both. Time is not money here. It is condition. Lost hours can be recovered. Lost opportunity less so. This flexibility allows survival under uncertainty. It also hides inefficiency. Delays compound unnoticed. Decisions wait for clarity that never fully arrives. The city tolerates this ambiguity. Life continues regardless. Time presses forward unevenly, carrying work, worry, and habit together. No one controls it. They follow. The city is learned by ear before eye. Bells mark distance. Hammers locate work. Hooves signal approach. Voices identify familiarity. Each sound carries meaning. A fast knock at the door brings tension. A slow one suggests business. Church bells compete subtly, each asserting presence. Market noise swells at certain hours, then drains away. Silence is suspicious. It suggests illness, departure, or death. Night amplifies everything. A dropped tool echoes too far. Footsteps reveal direction and intent. People learn to recognize neighbors by gait alone. Sound becomes navigation. Warning. Comfort. Children grow adept at interpreting it early. They know when to stay hidden, when to appear helpful. Authorities rely on sound as well. Cries of fire or stop mobilize bodies faster than any order. The city's map is auditory. Those who misread it place themselves at risk. Hearing, not sight, keeps many alive. Dress communicates instantly. Fabric choice signals wealth more clearly than speech. Wool dominates. Linen shows cleanliness. Silk appears rarely and draws attention. Patches are accepted if neat. Dirt is tolerated if honest. Excess ornament invites judgment. Laws attempt restraint, limiting display by class. Enforcement is uneven. Interpretation is constant. A well-kept coat gains trust. A stained one invites scrutiny. Shoes matter. So do hats. Removing one at the right moment smooths transactions. Keeping it on signals defiance or ignorance. Women's dress reveals household stability. Mended garments suggest skill. Neglect suggests trouble. Clothing also hides. Money is sewn into seams. Letters concealed in folds. Weapons tucked under layers. The city reads dress reflexively. Errors are corrected socially, not legally. A misjudged ribbon costs more than coin. Appearance shapes access. It opens doors or closes them silently. People learn quickly, those who do not stand out for the wrong reasons. Meals are repetitive by necessity. Variety signals fortune. Porridge, stew, salted meat. Root vegetables, these sustain most households. Freshness is seasonal. Preservation dominates technique. Pickling, drying, smoking. Taste bends to endurance. Spices appear rarely, used sparingly to signal status or celebrate survival. Markets offer abundance briefly, then retreat. Fish arrives in waves. Meat depends on supply and spoilage. Meals are shared tightly. Portions measured carefully. Waste is failure. Eating together reinforces hierarchy. Heads of households are served first. Guests observe rules. Silence often accompanies food. Conversation waits until hunger eases. Food marks time. Breakfast anchors the day. Supper ends it early. Hunger shapes mood. Generosity is noted. So is excess. Feasts occur, but rarely without consequence. Leftovers matter. Food is not pleasure first. It is strategy. Comfort follows if possible. Survival always leads. Weather brings information before it brings comfort or harm. Wind direction predicts arrivals. Clouds warn of delay. Smell shifts before storms. People adjust plans quickly. Laundry waits. Travel postpones. Bargains hurry. Weather excuses failure and enables opportunity. A sudden rain clears streets. Snow isolates neighborhoods. Heat alters tempers. Illness follows patterns people recognize without explanation. Weather is discussed constantly, not idly. Strategically, it determines work and rest. It exposes weakness in roofs, clothing, storage. Preparation is tested repeatedly. Those who ignore signs suffer. Those who adapt quietly endure. Weather also equalizes briefly. Wealth offers limited protection. Cold penetrates walls. Heat suffocates rooms. Storms damage all property. Response varies by means, not impact. The city lives inside weather rather than above it. Forecasting is informal, based on memory, on smell, on observation. Accuracy improves with age. Experience becomes shield. Nature communicates. People listen closely. Much is remembered without being written. Stories pass orally. Names, events, warnings, instructions. Memory replaces documentation for many. Accuracy shifts over time. Emphasis changes. Meaning adapts. This does not weaken memory's power. It strengthens relevance. Only what matters survives retelling. Elders hold authority through recollection. They advise based on lived patterns. Youth listen selectively. Some lessons feel outdated. Others prove timeless. Disputes arise over what truly happened. No record settles them. Consensus matters more than proof. Memory binds communities tightly. It also excludes. Those without shared memory remain outsiders longer. The city relies on this informal archive. It preserves survival knowledge. It also perpetuates bias. Forgetting is active, chosen, convenient. Memory here is not neutral. It is tool and weapon. What is remembered shapes behavior. What is forgotten disappears completely. Nothing ensures permanence except repetition, and repetition changes everything it preserves. Surveyors walk the city with tools few notice and many depend on. Chains, rods, compasses, stakes driven into earth define ownership long before walls rise. Disputes begin here. A line placed too far becomes a grievance lasting generations. Measurements are argued fiercely. Witnesses are called. Memory competes with marks in soil. Maps are copied slowly, amended reluctantly. Errors persist because correcting them threatens authority. Property defines status. It secures credit. It anchors families. Those without it drift. The city's order rests on these invisible lines. People walk across them daily without awareness. Yet every step is permission granted by ink and agreement. When land values rise, old boundaries matter more. Neighbors who once cooperated become rivals. The grid promises clarity. Reality resists it. Surveying is not neutral work. It chooses winners quietly. Once fixed, lines harden. They outlive their makers. The city grows around decisions few remember making. Public meetings occur rarely and cautiously. Attendance signals interest. Silence signals dissent. Men gather in rooms that smell of wax and damp wool. Benches creak. Papers shuffle. Discussions move slowly. Every word is weighed for consequence. Votes are taken by voice or raised hands. Results are recorded tersely. Authority here pretends consensus even when division is obvious. Open disagreement is managed, not encouraged. Speakers appeal to precedent, to scripture, to custom. Innovation hides behind familiar language. The process favors those comfortable speaking publicly. Others influence indirectly. Through alliances, through absence, decisions rarely satisfy everyone. They aim for stability instead. Assemblies reinforce hierarchy while offering participation. This tension defines governance. People accept outcomes they dislike because alternatives feel riskier. The city governs itself cautiously, aware that order depends on restraint. Too much force invites resistance. Too much freedom invites fragmentation. Balance is maintained through ritual and repetition. Security relies on participation. The night watch patrols streets in pairs, carrying lanterns and rattles. They are not professionals. They are citizens fulfilling obligation. Some take the duty seriously. Others tolerate it. Fatigue dulls attention. Darkness amplifies uncertainty. Watchmen challenge strangers. Ask names. Listen for confidence. Mistakes happen. Innocent people are detained. Guilty ones slip past. The watch enforces presence more than prevention. Their visibility deters some crime. Not all. The city does not experience crisis of faith. It experiences adjustment. That adjustment alters motivation subtly. Why people obey, why they endure. The shift remains understated, yet it matters. The city does not reach conclusion. It persists. Buildings stand. Streets wear. People age. Children replace them. Systems adapt slowly. Nothing resets. There is no final lesson offered to those living it. They do not know what follows. They do not frame their existence as prelude. They respond to conditions daily. That is enough. The city survives through repetition and adjustment, through memory and habit, through compromise and restraint. Its identity remains unfinished. It will be reinterpreted by others later. For now, it continues. Bells ring. Work begins. Decisions are made without awareness of their reach. Life proceeds. The city holds. That endurance defines it more than any idea. Not perfection, not collapse, just continuance. That is what remains visible from within. Everything else belongs.